Hi, my name is Marie Liu, and I am the author of the Warcross series, as well as Legend and the Young Elites. Today, I am here to answer your questions.
Hey Marie, my name is Dylan from Dylan the Reader 5, and I'm just wondering, your worlds are so intricate and interesting. How much do you have planned before going in, if you do have anything planned, or do you just go into it and kind of pants the whole thing?
So I usually end up coming up with about half of the world building when I start drafting. But I don't know everything, and usually I figure things out as the story is coming together. For Warcross specifically, I knew about the game, but a lot of the game mechanics were not in place yet. So it took until I was writing scenes of the teams playing Warcross for me to really figure out the details of how the game actually worked. So a lot of pieces come together as I'm working on the story. Thanks for the question, Dylan.
My name is Haley, and I come to you from the YouTube channel Haley in Bookland, and my question is, Warcross features a world that was heavily inspired by video games and technology. Is there any game in particular that you really drew your inspiration from when writing the story?
Thanks for the question, Haley. And yes, there were a lot of games that I was drawing inspiration from. In terms of like the actual structure for how Warcross works, it's very similar to League of Legends and Overwatch. You know, it's a team-based game where two teams are facing off against each other in a capture the flag style game. So in that sense, it's very similar to League of Legends, especially the championships and the way they work is very much structured on League of Legends and esports in general. I also took a lot from Mario Kart, which was another favorite of mine. And you can see that influence in how colorful everything is in Warcross. There are little gifts and boxes that people have to grab, power-ups, and I just always remember that from Mario Kart. And I was always a super aggressive Mario Kart player where I just knock people off the track and, you know, try to steal gifts and presents and boxes. So so that went into it as well.
Hi Marie, I am Samantha from the channel Sam's Nonsense, and my question for you is, how did you come up with a world for Warcross? Did anything in particular inspire this world?
Hi Sam. I used to work in video games as an artist. That was my first job out of college. I thought I was going to be a lawyer, but I ended up working in games, kind of serendipitously, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I was an intern at Disney, and all I was doing with 7 other interns was coming up with new video game ideas, and it was one of the best jobs I ever had outside of being a writer. So I always remembered that, and I knew that I wanted someday to write a book about games and kind of celebrate that feeling of being a part of a team and being excited and intimidated by both the scope of this industry and also of technology in general.
Hi Marie, my question for you is, while you were writing Wildcard, which character surprised you the most?
Ooh, that's a good question, Laney. I was pretty surprised by Zero, and not that I didn't really know what happened to him, but he was a character that I didn't really understand in Warcross because none of my characters understood who he was. He was very much a mystery figure, which all gets unraveled in Wildcard. So in a way, I was kind of understanding him at the same time that Amika and the other characters are understanding him. So yeah, he surprised me a lot. There were some scenes in Wildcard that I didn't know were going to happen until I wrote them down.
Hi, my name's Lauren and I'm from the channel Random Reader, and so my question for Marie Liu is, was there any major difference in the writing process between Warcross or Wildcard, and if so, what were those differences? So for example, did one take longer to plan than the other, or was there one more difficult to write than the other? And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Hi Lauren. I can tell you that Warcross was definitely the easy child. It was just really fun, and I don't usually enjoy writing first drafts, but I enjoyed writing the first draft of Warcross because I was just exploring this gaming world, and it was fun and colorful, and I had just come back from Tokyo, and the book is set in Tokyo, so it was just a fun time for me to explore this world. And so I think that's why Warcross has kind of this lighthearted feel to it, which is not usually my style. Wildcard was the trouble child. It was so much harder to write because it gets so complicated. There are multiple plot lines moving around. The characters are in a darker place, so I felt like I went in with a darker mindset as well, and that made Wildcard 10 times harder to write than Warcross. I'm happy with how it turned out, but it was not easy getting that book out.
Hey everyone, I'm Julia and I'm from the channel Julia's Sapphire here on BookTube. For my question, I'm wondering if sparks are going to be flying with Amika and Haido in book 2, if the ship is going to be sailing and all that sort of stuff. So thank you so much for answering my question, and yeah.
Hey, thanks for your question, Julia. I don't want to give everything away, but there are definitely some sparks left. You don't just fall out of love with somebody right away, and the two of them have a lot of ground to cover. So I'm not going to say whether the ship sails or not, but the ship is still there.
Hi, my name is Emma. I am from the YouTube channel Emma Books, and I would love to know how much of Warcross was actually planned from the beginning. What scenes did you envision before you even wrote them?
Thank you for the question, Emma. I had a lot of scenes planned out in my head, but they were all kind of jumbled in the wrong order. So this was one of the first times where I wrote a first draft with a lot of scenes out of order. I think I wrote the first battle scene for the first Warcross championship very early on before it actually should have happened in the book, and I ended up shuffling everything around a lot. In my first version of the book, I had planned out very specifically how Amika was going to be contacted by Hideo and have her world turned upside down and be sent to Tokyo. And from there, it kind of got a little bit messy. I knew what the first championship game was going to be. I didn't know what the other ones were going to be. I knew that she was going to run into Zero. I knew about the Dark World. But all of those scenes were mixed together. And I think the ending game was completely different from what the final version was. So, I mean, I'm a pantser writer. That means I write for the seat of my pants. And I don't always know when or how a story is going to unravel. And it takes me a couple of drafts before I end up with something that is more resembling the final version of the plot. So thanks so much for your questions, everyone. That was a blast to answer. I am so excited for all of you to read Wildcard. I hope you enjoy it when it comes out September 18th. And until then, I'll see you around.